Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome. Today, we're taking a look behind the curtain of the entertainment industry.
Okay.
There's a lot going on, lots to unpack, so we've got articles about some surprising industry shifts, some interesting financial realities, and even a new literary genre that is poised to take over the world.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is this sort of perfect storm right now.
Okay.
You've got production costs going through the roof. Audiences are changing how they watch. And of course, streaming is just changing everything.
You're right. It's like the whole system's in a pressure cooker right now.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, like even reality TV, those shows on the CW, they're going overseas to film.
Makes sense, right?
Hmm.
U.S. production costs, they're insane. Even the big studios are looking elsewhere.
That's true. But maybe that's not a bad thing. I mean, getting a different perspective, new locations, it could be cool.
Definitely. It's not just about saving money. It could breathe new life into those genres. That's a great point. Speaking of different perspectives, I read this piece by Ben Stiller.
Oh, yeah.
He's got this documentary about his parents, but also a sci-fi show.
Okay.
And he's really thinking about, what does it even mean to be a filmmaker right now?
Which is so interesting coming from him. He's done it all in Hollywood, actor, director, everything.
Exactly.
And you can tell he's wrestling with this, wanting to make something meaningful, but the industry just wants those blockbusters.
Yeah, so we've got rising costs, audiences changing, and people searching for meaning.
Lots going on.
Oh, and then there's romantasy.
Romantasy.
I know, right? Sounds like something made up, but it's this huge literary genre, and Hollywood is all over it.
I mean, Fourth Wing, A Court of Thorns and Roses, those books made over $600 million in 2024.
Wow.
And it makes sense. People want an escape. They love fantasy, but they also want like a really strong romantic element.
Yeah, get those fantasy fans and people who want strong female characters, and everybody needs a little escape these days.
It's true.
But can Hollywood pull it off? I mean, adaptations are tricky, especially with books people love.
Oh, it's a big challenge. They've got to stay true to the book, but also make it work visually.
Right.
Find the right actors, build a world that feels real, and that romance, they have to nail that tall.
Tall order. But it'll be fascinating to see what they come up with. And while Hollywood chases that next big fantasy thing, over in the UK, the indie film scene is doing some cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Those distributors, they're finding ways to thrive, even with the big studios dominating everything.
It's inspiring, right? Shows you can still find an audience for original stories.
It does. One example, Signature Entertainment had this horror film, Terrifier 3.
Oh, yeah.
It got a reputation for being super gory. People were, kind of freaked out by it.
But it made money. Shows there's still a market for pushing those boundaries.
Like those old midnight movies. You want to be shocked. But it's not all shock value. There's variety, too.
Absolutely. Like Met Film Distribution, they had Wilding.
Okay.
It was more for like nature lovers, a slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
But it found its audience.
So you've got Terrifier 3 scaring people and Wilding for those who want something, I don't know, a little quieter.
Yeah. And it proves there's no one right way to be successful in this industry.
Right. And it's encouraging, right? You can still break through even with all those franchises and sequels.
Exactly. Good storytelling never goes out of style. Speaking of which, there's a certain Hollywood star making a comeback.
You mean Adrian Brody?
Yes. Oscar winner, The Pianist, and then he kind of disappeared. But now he's back with The Brutalist.
Yeah, I heard good things.
He plays a Holocaust survivor. The performance is supposed to be incredible, and all the critics are raving about him.
It's like the classic Hollywood comeback story.
It is. And it reminds us, films can tackle tough subjects, teach us about history, and make us feel empathy.
All while showcasing amazing acting.
Right. Brody shows that true talent lasts. Sometimes you just need the right role to remind everyone.
So we've got reality TV going global, indie films thriving, and a comeback story for the ages. The industry is always changing, but one thing stays the same. We crave good stories.
Definitely. But it's not just the stories. It's how we watch them that's changing, too.
So true. Streaming, it's changed everything.
Changed everything. Next time, we'll dive into how Amazon and Netflix are blurring the lines between entertainment and shopping. They're turning wish lists into TV shows.
Whoa, okay, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild one.
Can't wait.
Picking up where we left off, streaming platforms are really shaking things up.
Yeah, they're not just showing us stuff anymore, are they?
Not at all. Amazon and Netflix are like these massive entertainment hubs.
Hubs, yeah, that's a good word for it. I mean, they're everywhere.
They are. And they keep finding new ways to, like, sneak into our lives.
It's kind of creepy sometimes, but also brilliant.
Right. So you asked about multiple on-ramps for content.
Oh, yeah. Remind me how that works.
It's basically like taking one idea and spreading it across a bunch of different platforms.
Okay.
So Amazon, they're making a TV show out of their wish list feature.
A show.
Yeah. It's like a shopping channel meets reality TV.
Huh. Interesting. So people just watch others make wish lists?
Something like that.
Mhm.
I think they add some kind of competition element too.
And then there's Ring Nation using footage from those doorbell cameras.
That one's a little unsettling, right? Like,
Uh.
is it entertainment? Is it security? Is it advertising?
Yeah. How much of that is even real?
Exactly.
Mm?
But it's clever, you know? You're already shopping online, so why not make it part of your TV time?
I guess it plays right into our impulse buying habits.
Totally. But moving on from shopping, let's talk about some exciting projects in development.
Okay, what have we got?
Peacock is adding to the cast of their spy thriller, Ponies.
Ponies, right? I remember that one.
They already had Emilia Clarke and Haley Lou Richardson,
Oh, yeah, those are big names.
and now they've got Adrian Lester, Archim Giltz, Nicholas Podany, Petro Ninovsky, and Vic Michaelis.
Wow, that's a lot of names.
It is. It's shaping up to be a pretty big deal for Peacock.
I can see why. And then there's Robert De Niro working with Netflix on The Whisper Man.
Oh yeah, that one sounds good. De Niro playing a detective investigating child abductions.
That's right up his alley. I'm already intrigued.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be pretty dark and intense. And then for something a little different, we've got Samuel L. Jackson and Daveed Diggs doing a Hitman movie.
Okay, I'm listening.
So it's this retired mob enforcer, right?
Yeah.
And he has to choose between getting back some stolen money or killing his own nephew who supposedly stole it.
Oh, wow, that's a tough one.
Right. It's a classic crime thriller with a real moral dilemma at its heart.
And who's directing this one?
Ernest Dickerson, with a script by Matthew Stone. So I'm expecting some great dialogue and action.
Yeah, they're both really talented. I always find these international collaborations so fascinating.
Me too. It's like you're bringing together all these different creative voices and ideas.
Exactly. And speaking of international projects, France Televisions is adapting Marie Verret's novel Des Enchantés.
Ah, that's a good one. It's a 4-part coming-of-age drama.
I like that they're bringing stories from other cultures to a wider audience.
Yeah, it's important. And the Netherlands is becoming a real hub for co-productions.
I've heard that. What makes them so good at it?
They have a really good reputation for being reliable and transparent, which is essential for these kinds of complex projects.
Makes sense. You need to be able to trust your partners.
Exactly. So speaking of looking back and looking ahead, the Rotterdam Film Festival is doing something really cool this year.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They're focusing on the impact of video culture, specifically the VHS era on modern filmmaking.
Whoa, that takes me back. I remember spending hours in video stores as a kid.
Me too. It was a totally different way of discovering movies.
It was, and I bet those VHS aesthetics, the graininess, the tracking issues, it all had an influence on filmmakers.
It definitely did. It's like a celebration of lo-fi filmmaking. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Create London.
Okay, what's that about?
It's a one-day event, all about the future of the creator economy.
So like the business side of things.
Yeah. They're bringing together creators, brands, platforms, and AI innovators to talk about direct-to-audience content.
So like cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. It's a sign of the times with all these new platforms and technologies popping up.
It's like the Wild West out there. But speaking of wild things, we've got news about a new Jurassic World movie.
Yes. Jurassic World Rebirth coming soon.
And who's in it this time?
Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali are joining the franchise.
Wow, big names.
Wow.
So what's the story?
It's set 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion and follows a team trying to get dinosaur DNA from this dangerous island.
So more dinosaurs, more action, more star power.
Any bunch.
Yeah.
And for those who like a little mystery with their thrills, there's a sequel to A Simple Favor.
Oh, I loved that movie. Another Simple Favor? Is that what they're calling it?
That's the one. It's premiering at SXSW 2025, so we should get more details soon.
Can't wait. And on the rom-com front, we've got Marissa Tomei and Virginia Gardner in F. Valentine's Day.
That title certainly grabs your attention.
It does. What's it about?
They're pitching it as a fresh take on the classic Valentine's Day rom-com.
Sounds fun. I love both of those actresses.
Me too. It should be good. And we can't forget about the people behind the camera.
Of course. What's going on there?
Well, filmmaker Joe Carnahan, he's launching a new production company called Gang of Three.
Wasn't he the one who directed R.I.P. on Netflix?
That's him. He's got a real talent for making stylish and exciting movies.
So what's Gang of Three working on?
They've got a few things in development, a foodie assassin thriller, a biopic about Joe Louis and Max Schmeling.
Oh, wow. Those sound interesting.
They do. It's always great to see talented people branching out and creating new opportunities.
Speaking of creating opportunities, Anthony Kimball just launched a talent agency called Arrested Industries Talent.
Oh, yeah, I read about that.
Huh.
It's focused on representing UK and South African talent.
That's awesome. It's so important to have those voices represented.
It is, and it reminds us that there's so much talent out there just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. And speaking of discovering talent, TikTok star Avani Gregg is making her feature film debut.
Really? What's the movie?
It's called Breathe Deep, a shark survival thriller.
Interesting. So we've got social media stars crossing over into traditional film roles.
It seems like those worlds are colliding more and more these days.
They are, and it creates so many new possibilities for everyone.
So much is happening, it's hard to keep up with it all.
It really is. That's why these deep dives are so important. We need to figure out what really matters.
I agree. So what's next? What are we diving into in the last part?
In the final segment, we'll take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What do all these trends mean for the future of entertainment?
Ooh, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is. But it's an important one. We'll get into it right after the break.
Wow, I feel like we just crammed a year's worth of entertainment news into, like, an hour.
It's been a whirlwind, for
Yeah.
sure. From those crazy production costs to romanticy and then shopping as entertainment, it's a lot.
It is. But through it all, one thing's super clear to me.
What's that?
The power of stories, that's what
Yeah.
drives everything.
Couldn't agree more. Whether it's Ben Stiller with his documentary or those UK indie folks taking chances, it's all about connecting through stories.
That's what keeps this whole industry going, that human need to share experiences.
And it pushes everyone to be better, try new things, reach audiences in new ways.
Like Amazon making TV out of wish lists. I still can't wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, it's wild. But it shows you got to adapt, right? There's so much content out there, you got to stand out.
It's true. And it's not just about being entertained, it's about seeing ourselves reflected, hearing different voices.
100%. Those films, like The Only Girl in the Orchestra, series like Ponies, they're giving space to stories we might not have heard before.
And then you've got people like Anthony Kimball, with his agency actively supporting underrepresented talent.
It's a reminder that who's making the stories matters just as much as the stories themselves.
It does. And this push for inclusion, it's global. More collaborations, more co-productions. Good stories can come from anywhere.
Right. Like those Dutch filmmakers, they're killing it. They're open to working with everyone, and it's benefiting the whole industry.
So with all this going on, what does it mean for us, the people watching?
I think it means we're spoiled for choice. So many genres, different points of view, stories from all over the world. It's amazing.
Like having a VIP pass to all of entertainment. But it comes with the responsibility too, right?
Oh, absolutely. We got to be aware of how these streaming giants are using our data, how they're making money off us.
And we got to support the creators we believe in, whether it's a huge blockbuster or a small indie film with a message that hits home.
At the end of the day, the future of entertainment is in our hands, literally, with every click we make.
So be curious, try new things, step outside your comfort zone. You never know what you might discover.
Exactly. And the best part, finding those stories that stay with you, that spark something inside, long after the movie's over.
Well said. This deep dive has been incredible. So much to think about.
I agree. It's been a blast. And it just goes to show the world of entertainment never stands still.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, happy watching.